Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to present the slides here. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes for people to still hop on. There's only three people right now, but usually people kind of hop in as we get started. So I'll get started actually in 1 minute. I'll give it one more minute, and I'll just go ahead and get started. But if you are here and you can hear me, just kind of share where you're tuning in from, and then are you currently licensed? If you're getting licensed, like where you're at in the journey, just kind of let me know where you're at, and that'll give us a good idea of where to go from here. So I'm going to mute for one more second, and then I'll be right back on. But feel free to answer those questions in the chat, just so I can know like where you're at, where you're coming from. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started at 6:01. I don't want to keep you guys too long, just because it is already 7 o'clock at night, and I don't want to keep you too long. So again, if you have not said in the chat where you're tuning in from, let me know where that is, and then also just kind of where you're at in your licensing process. Looks like David is just got hired at an agency. Cool. Awesome. So you're working on PNC. So I actually came from PNC. I'll go over that next. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to the next screen. So this is a little bit about me. This QR code will get you just connected to me. It gives me like your name, your information, then I'll just send you a text. That way we can connect. And if you have more questions when we get done, feel free to respond to the text and kind of go from there. Northern California licensed in June. Awesome. That is a lot of everyone's problem is we don't know where to start. And I'll go over a lot of that so it can kind of give you ideas of maybe where you want to take this. So we will definitely go over that. But before we get started, I am Charmaine Cross, and I actually came from the PNC background. I worked at USAA for a little over 15 years. And then I also worked in a brokerage office, so someone who was a broker and he had multiple carriers as a PNC like account manager, I guess is what I was called. So I've been doing PNC off and on for about 20 years. And then when I got to that point, I was like, I don't know what I want to do next because I was only really doing like the service and that kind of stuff. I never really dove into where I was only making commission type of sales, and I wasn't quite comfortable with that. And that's kind of why I stayed in the jobs and things like that in the PNC roles. And then in 2022, I decided I no longer wanted to work for the broker. We just kind of clashed because I'm very like strong-hearted and I don't like being told or like micromanaged. And he was very micromanaging and I didn't like that. So I was like, I need to do something for myself. And I found the opportunity in life insurance. And it was actually perfect for me because I had lost two of my siblings. So both of my siblings passed away. My brother passed away in 2010. He was only 21 years old due to a drug overdose. So, of course, not prepared, not didn't have life insurance. My parents had to cover, everything. And then when he passed away, he was living with my sister at the time. And so after he died in her home, she just never really recovered. So she pretty much died of a broken heart 4 years later. So lost both of my siblings. And so life insurance it just seemed like it fit because I saw the sides of it where we didn't have life insurance, and I saw like the financial strain that it caused on my parents, watching my parents have to raise my nieces for the last 11 years and go through all the high school and cars and cheer and college and all the expenses that were incurred with raising two kids without being their parent. So I watched all that happen, and life insurance just made sense. It just like, okay, I know what it looks like for people not to have coverage. So it made sense, and I decided to jump in, even though I was scared because life insurance is very Most cases it's going to be commission only. It's kind of what you're going to find out there. So I want to go over that with you just to kind of give you like what to expect when you get out there. But again, the QR code, scan it, it'll just connect you to me. I will put my cell phone in the chat too, just in case you don't get to this. That way you can text me too. All right, so I just want to show you two ways that you can partner, and like if you were interested in partnering with us. You can come in as a broker where you're making money protecting families. And the other one, if you want to do that, you don't have to. It's not a requirement, but you can be an agency builder. You can grow your own agency or something that you own that you can pass down to your kids. So you have a couple different options. You can get the money you make right now, protecting families, doing all the things yourself. And then there's also the passive residual income later if you wanted to go down that route and wanted to have more time and, money happening when you're not actually working. So I'll go over both of that. But what does it look like to be a remote life insurance broker and what does it take? So, like I just mentioned, it's very, very hard to find a position where it's life insurance only and you get a base salary, like a base pay plus commission. It's not very likely. You can find agencies that need somebody and they will pay you not a premium, but like an hourly salary, but usually it will do PNC also. So it's like PNC and life, not just life. So if you see that out there, they do exist. It's just not very common to find just life by itself with a hourly. You might, and if you do, I mean, great for you because it's hard to find. So what is it going to take? So if you're doing something like this, commission only, you are your own boss. Okay. So what kind of employee are you? Are you going to be the kind of employee for yourself that you would hire again? Are you going to be the type of employee that you're like, she's a really great employee, he's a really great employee? Or are you going to be like, that person didn't do anything today? Because I've been both. I have been both in this business where I've been like, what did you do all day? You sat at your computer for 8 hours and you didn't do anything. And then I've also been like, holy cow, I just made $7,000 in a day. That's crazy. So those are differences that will happen. So it's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It is going to take patience because you don't get paid every single week or every 2 weeks like you do at a job just for sitting at your desk. You have to be, the only way you're making money is if you're writing policies for somebody. So it takes, all of that mental toughness. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that what is out there is possible for you, and that way you can continue to grow. You're going to have to invest in yourself and your business. So if you're looking for something where you're looking for an hourly job, this is not going to be it. It's not here. You own your own business. So if you have your own restaurant, you have to market the business. You have to, do all that stuff. If you owned a State Farm agency, you have to market your own State Farm agency by investing in marketing materials and, different kinds of business cards and TV material and ads and different things like that. When you come into this business, you don't have to go out and do all of that by yourself. Our company does do a lot of the marketing, and then you can buy yourself leads. So that is a possibility, but you're going to have to invest in yourself if you don't have ways to create your own leads outside of this. Okay. I'll go over how that looks, and that way, if you have other ways like I do, I'll share that with you too. And it just, like I said, it takes vision to see what's possible. So what does it look like as a broker? So our company has a system that is, oh wait, I have somebody entering. Hold on one second. Sorry, I just had to let somebody in the waiting room. Hi, Maggie. Welcome. All right. So our system is when you come in as a broker, this is the system. It's a training and mentorship in the beginning. You come in, there's some training that you're going to do. We're going to kind of talk about things, map out what your goals are, what your strategies are going to be to hit those goals. That all comes like when you get in the business. And then investing in leads. So if you don't have a way, if you don't have a way to create your own leads, whether, if you use social media and you're really good at it, use social media. Do not be a secret agent. Share what you do. That's free. Okay. That's a free way to get leads. If you network in person, if ask for referrals, you partnership with somebody who does PNC, which is what I have done. If you partner with a real estate agent or mortgage broker, those are all ways to get free leads. Now, if you don't have those ways or you're not comfortable with any of those ways, then you invest in your leads. These are people who have come into the business or not come into the business. They have received some type of marketing material about life insurance, mortgage protection, life insurance, regular life insurance, whatever it is. And those people saw that material and they either called in, they mailed something in, or they scanned it and went online and did it that way, requesting the information about what that is. So that is what the leads look like. There are different levels. There are some that are someone requested it today, this morning, you get the lead. Some of them are just, they go down the line. As long as they're not closed out, they keep getting rebought until somebody gets it at 40 cents and it's been there for a couple of years. Those are what we call practice leads. Like, of course, they're probably not going to remember they filled something out 2 years ago, but they may still have not gotten helped. So those are they're good practice. They're good to call. They're good to practice objections. They're good to practice just getting your voice without sounding like you're a robot reading a script, because that's not what you want. You want to sound like you are a human and that you're talking to a human. You're not a robot and you're not just a telemarketer. You are there to provide them help that they had asked for. Okay. So then you buy those leads, you dial them, you call the leads daily. Well, not all of them daily, but you call them, you practice your scripts, you get comfortable overcoming the objections, like I said, but your overall goal is to set an appointment with that client to go over options and possibly issue a policy. Okay. Preparing for appointments. So once you've set an appointment, we prepare for the appointments. So in the beginning, you guys, I don't want you to come into a business thinking, I have to know everything about life insurance. I have to know every product. I have to know every carrier, because you will never do that. You're never going to know everything. So you got to get in, you just got to start. So when you're preparing for an appointment, you get the client's information, and then I help you in the beginning to underwrite, try to figure out what carrier to write with, because we have access to about 40, what carrier will be best fit for that client and all of those things. So I help you prepare for that. Then you go and you run your appointments, you meet with the client, you build rapport, share with them that you are not just there to sell them something. You are there to help their family. Don't sound like a salesperson. You want to just understand what they need. So the goal is just kind of get information from them. What are they struggling with? What's their pain point? Ask questions and let them talk, okay? Then rinse and repeat. The more you run the system, the better you get. Consistency equals predictable income. The more you know, the more, like you get to a point where you're like, oh, I know I have to run 10 appointments to hit the income that I want. One thing I missed on the investing in leads. So what the success formula it kind of is with most of our agents is whenever you have a set amount that you want to make, like if you want to make 2,500 in a month, you would probably spend about $250 in leads that month. If you want to make 2,500 in a week, you're expecting to spend about 10% of the income that you want to make in order to make that work. Some people are going to spend more, some people are going to spend less. It just depends how good you are at just getting to what you're, how good are you at overcoming objections? If you call them and they say, oh, I already got it taken care of, or I don't need that anymore, or whatever. If you can get to a point where you're like, okay, great, that's perfect. That's why I'm calling. I just want to make sure that you got it taken care of. Whatever it looks like, but you just want to get good at that. You want to get comfortable and good at what you're saying. Now, this is how we do it. So all of it is a whole system, okay? So we have HQ, which the company I'm partnered with is called Symmetry. HQ, Quility is our tech, like all of our technical stuff. It houses our training, it houses our leads, it houses our CRM, it houses everything that we use is on this platform, and it houses everything. So Summit is our training platform. You can go from becoming a broker, first little section, great, might take 4 hours. Then we want you to get on practicing just talking to people. When you are more comfortable, you go to the next step of training. I have had people come in and they do all of the training, which could take weeks if you went through everything, and quit because they got overwhelmed. They never got to issue a policy because they just kept going through training, trying to learn everything, and then they ended up quitting because they got overwhelmed. So that's why we don't want you to do that. We want you to just do the basics, get on the phone, start practicing, talking to people and all of those things. Then we have Quality Leads Marketplace. All of our leads and our company are company generated, so they're not coming from anywhere outsourced. They are all TCPA compliant. If anything ever, you know, say for instance they showed up on some kind of do not call list and you called them, if you got in trouble for that, it's covered by our company. You don't have to worry about that. Now, if you buy leads outside of Symmetry and you get in trouble for non-compliant leads, that's on you. Anything that you get from us and our company, you are guaranteed to not be in trouble if something happens for whatever compliance issues. That is a huge deal because they crack down on that. I don't even know who it is that handles that, but whoever handles like calling out, they crack down on people that are calling, not compliance or out of compliance. So very, very, very scary. It's like I think they even say it could be like $5,000 or something of a fee if you do something like that. So keep your leads from our company. That's it. And then we have Quality Switchboard is our CRM. It's actually called Funnel. It's a new system. It's called Funnel. Funnel is amazing. It helps you dial. Like if you put 50 people into this funnel, you can say call each person twice and it'll just dial them twice until somebody picks up. Someone picks up, the script's on the screen, you ask the questions, and even on the side while you're asking the questions, it's populating quotes for you. So you can kind of have an idea, when you get done, like based on what you've told me so far, I do have some options for you. Some people do one call closes on those. Some people say, I got some options. I just want to double check and check underwriting and everything first and then do it on the appointment. So it just depends how you work. Now we have Navigator is our more like a quoting tool by itself. They used to be completely separate where CRM was by itself, the quoting system was by itself. They're now in one, but you can still get to the quoting system without being on a call. So it's amazing. You can go in, put in all your clients' information, age, height, weight, date of birth, all that stuff. What medications they're taking, what their diagnoses are. And then it'll say, okay, based on this information, here are the top 5 that you're likely to qualify for. So it kind of gives you an idea. So you're not having to go to all of your carriers to quote that one person. It gives you information kind of up front. And then the digital insurance products, those are products that were created specifically by some of the big carriers for our company by like alone. So if you wanted to write that policy, you would have to be with our company in order to write it. It's not available to just the masses in those companies. They're really cool and they're actually really, really good products. So those are ones that you would have to issue from the Navigator system, but amazing, amazing products out there. All right. So how do you make money? So when you partner with us, you're a broker. You have access to about 40 carriers so you can help find your clients the best for them, right? Based on their needs, based on their budget, whatever it is, you have ability. You're not stuck with one company. The carriers pay you directly. Okay. That was a big deal to me when I started looking for an opportunity, and what I wanted was I didn't want to be with a company where I had to wait till Friday to get my commissions or 2 weeks or the end of the month to get my commissions. The way that it works here is when you write a policy, if I wrote a policy with Mutual of Omaha today, if it was right now, I probably wouldn't get it tomorrow, but I would get it by Thursday, right? So it takes 24 to 48 hours, business hours typically, to get your commissions, but you're not having to wait till the end of the week or the end of the month to get your pay or wait for it to go through the hands of the people in your company or however that works. There's so many crazy things out there. You get paid when you issue a policy directly from the carrier, so it doesn't go to a middleman, which I think is huge. So I'm going to show you this. This is a slingshot. So everyone coming into our business, they start at the 80% contract rate. So you would make, and this is not every single product, I would show you everything if you come into the business, but every carrier has products that start at the 80%. There are core products with our core carriers, they're 80% commission. So if you had $1,000 policy, you would make 800 off of that. Now, what happens is the carriers don't pay the full 800 up front. They pay you a 75% advance. So if you have $800, they're going to pay you 75% of that within those 24 to 48 hours, and then they hold the last 25% until you're in the last 3 months of the year. So once they've paid, all 9 months, and then they go to month 10, then you start getting the back end of that 25%, and you get that paid. That is very good, and here's why. If you have a policy that gets canceled, like say they paid you the full 800 and your client cancels a policy in 2 months, then you're stuck paying all that money back to the company, to the carrier. So if they only paid 2 months out of the 1,000, then you're going to end up having to pay whatever that commission was. It takes the 2 months off of that. So having that extra 25% at the end, I kind of keep it like in a little account by itself. That way, if there is a chargeback or I need some money for taxes, it's already there. That's kind of the way that I use it. But anyways, moving on. You have the ability to move up to 95% contract rate in the first 3 months. So you can do it you can go up 5% a month, 5% a month, okay? Tell me in a job, if you've ever been in, I mean, you've all been in a job, but if you've ever been in a job, when was the last time you got 15% commission increase or pay increase in 3 months? I worked for USAA for 15 years and I never got more than a 3% raise ever. And that was annually. So I'm thinking like even in I don't even know. I think I only increased my pay in 15 years, I think $8 an hour. That's craziness. You can do that in 3 months here. Okay. On the fast track, 5 months or 3 months. In first month, you would do 5,000 in business. Second month, you would have to do 7,500 in business. And then the third month, 12,500. That gets you up to the 95%. That's on the fast track. So they call that slingshot. Then the other way, you can do 2,500 2 months in a row. Then it goes up to 85. Then you do 5,000 2 months in a row, goes up to 90. And then 10,000 2 months in a row, and it goes up to 95. So you can still, even on the slower track, you can still get to 95% in 6 months. That's crazy. Jobs don't do that ever, like ever. And if you do, that's an amazing job. That's a great job if you did. All right, so here's a quick example of just part-time agent. Okay, so a part-time agent's typically going to do about 15 to 20 hours per week. And doing that, you can probably bet you're going to do about 6 policies a month. Okay, so if your average is $1,200, that is the average case size, you could be making about $69,000 a year, just part-time, if you do 6 policies a month. Now, here's the thing too. If you're doing 6 policies a month, you're not going to be staying at that 80% contract rate. So this is just guessing. If you stayed at 80%, you're not going to be at that rate if you're doing that much business. So you can expect that your rates are going to be higher from that. But that's, just 6 policies a month is almost $6,000 in upfront commission. That's a lot for doing part-time. Now here's full-time, like a full-time agent, and this is non-building. This is just doing your own production right now. So this is your own production, no recruiting, nothing like that, okay? This is full-time agent, non-recruiting, just personal production. So if you were doing 15 to 20 sales per month, you can be looking about $200,000 a year. If you're doing that, okay? I don't do that on average. I probably only do about 10 in a month. But I am also building. So I'm also bringing on agents and helping mentor agents and help, teach them how to underwrite and how to write policies and how to, dial and all those things. So it's like I'm kind of like doing both right now. But if you're just focusing on production, this is how amazing you can have really quickly. Does it take time? Yes, absolutely. It's going to take time to get comfortable, doing the calls and everything, but it's out there and it's available for you. Now here are our core specialties in our agency. One Mortgage protection is what this company was built on, and it was built in 2008 when the mortgage crisis was going crazy. Like there was all these things that were happening. They had those interest-only loans and everything just crashed. But they built this mortgage protection company because before the mortgage carriers would have policies like this that you could do, but then something happened and they got rid of it. So now our company basically it's just a term policy. It's a fancy name for a term policy that just it's a like designed for their wife or their spouse to pay the mortgage off if they pass away. But the mortgage protection, final expense, obviously, critical illness, heart attack, cancer, stroke. With for those ones, you do need a health license. So if you're in the process, I would recommend highly to do life and health together. The test is the same length, whether you do them separately or together. And you're going to need it eventually. I did not do that. So that's why I'm telling you. I came into the business thinking, oh, I just need my life insurance license. So I just registered for that when I was doing everything, not knowing I would have to then outsource my critical illness policies because I can't write them myself. So just that's kind of a quick tip. But then kids policies, critical period coverage is more for like if someone wanted to cover their mortgage, but they're older, they can't get a term policy any longer. They are not going to be able to qualify for a $300,000 policy just because their health or their age or whatever. Critical period coverage basically just says, okay, if their mortgage is $2,000 a month, let's get them 6 months of mortgage payments. And so it's basically a $12,000 policy that would help the spouse pay their mortgage for 6 months while they're trying to figure out if they're going to sell the house or what they're going to do with it. So it's critical period. It's just basically like buying them time so that they don't lose their house during those months. Now, this right here, the debt free life, you guys, it is a huge, huge thing that is now a like staple, I guess, in our company. Debt is out of control right now, and we have a policy that it's a whole life policy, but it is designed to help you pay off your mortgage, all your debt in 9 years or less without spending any more than you're currently spending. So it basically would take someone's all their debts, find the interest rates and all the things, their payments, how much they're overpaying, and any overpayments, they move it over to a life insurance policy that builds cash value. Then they start paying things off faster because it's gaining interest versus spending interest on all the things, the debts. It's gaining interest, so you're able to build cash value that way, and then you can continue using it in retirement later. But then also tax-free retirement. So, and there's other things too, but these are just like the ones that you're going to hear about more often. But debt-free life, you guys, if you know anybody who's in debt, if you refer them to this, like it's not even a policy that I write or that most of you would write. We have people who specifically handle them. You refer it to that person and you split commission with them. So you don't do anything and you make 40% right off the bat just for sending it to somebody. So that's a really, really cool thing that we have out also, that it's not something you write, but you still get paid on it. These are just some of the partnerships with the carriers that we have. When you first get started, we get you contracted with American Amicable, UHL, Mutual of Omaha, SBLI, F&G, Americo, Foresters, and LGA. So those, oh, and I think Transamerica. Those are the first 8 that you get contracted with up front. And then as you go, if you want to add more in there, you can. I honestly, I'm just going to tell you right now, I only probably write. I have, I think, 14 that I'm contracted with, but I stick to my core. Like I really, American Amicable art, we just love because we can get direct contact with underwriting. We can get direct, information. Like we have a very good relationship with that company. So I like writing with them because it's easier. You can kind of fight for your clients a little bit better. But then all these other companies are amazing too. I just like when you can really get in contact with an underwriter directly. Now, the agency building opportunity. Okay. So this is what you want to think about if eventually you want more time freedom, you want to be building passive income, money, making money while you're not stuck to your phone or your computer, right? When you're sleeping, when you're traveling, you're still making money. Then you would want to go the agency builder route, but that also requires recruiting. Okay. And I know so many people think recruiting is such a scary word and all the things, but you guys, if I wasn't recruited to this business, I wouldn't be making money. I wouldn't be having my own agency. I wouldn't be building something for my family. Somebody has to offer you the opportunity. That's all it is. Someone has to offer you the opportunity in order to find it. So you have to think about it a different way versus recruiting. Okay. There are companies that focus only on recruiting, and I understand that sounds super scammy and all the things because of the way they do it. We don't get paid to recruit here. Okay? Let me phrase that differently. You do not get paid to just bring Susie to your team. Just to just say, okay, she's on my team now. I don't get nothing from that. The only way I make money on anyone I bring into the business is if they write a policy. Okay? And I'll show you how that looks. So I don't make money. You wouldn't make money. Nobody in this company makes money until they bring an agent in and that agent is making money themselves. Okay, that is huge for me. I thought it. I've been trying to be. People have tried to recruit me to a whole lot of different companies, even in the last 3 years since I've been here. And I have heard one, you start at 30% commission, and you don't go up to 70 until you've sponsored or recruited 10 people. That's insanity to me. Like, we can go all the way up here to 105% contract without ever sponsoring one person, without ever recruiting one person. So it makes it, I think those kind of things make a difference. I don't like the whole you need to bring people in order to. Yes, if you want to build an agency, you have to bring people in, but you don't have to do that to make money. Okay. I just like to stress that because I think it's in this space and in this industry, it gets very construed the word recruiting. So I just wanted to bring that up. But what makes us different? Okay. There are so many different companies out there that you can partner with. So many different companies you can partner with. Some are captive, they only have one, one carrier. Some are just like this and they have all the same carriers that I have. Commissions might be different. The one thing that is different than any other company is our exclusive agency ownership program. It is a truly exclusive. Like, you can build and own your own agency that you can pass down to your family. If you have kids, if you pass away, it goes to your spouse. He passes away or she passes away, it goes to their kids, all the way down the line. It can continue growing. So they provide us everything we need to build our business through that true contractual ownership. You have the ability to earn both time and money freedom with our system-driven income. And then you can pass the business on, like I said, that you have worked so hard to build, you can pass it down to your kids. So would you rather be paid only when you work or have a business that's paying you when you're also not working? Like, I always say, like somebody said this morning, like, what are the hours that you work? I don't know. I don't know I don't even know when I work. I come to my desk and I work when I need to. Like, I don't sit here for 8, 9 hours a day. I do a lot of stuff with my phone. I do a lot of like reels and TikToks and I do a lot of social media. So I do stuff like that. Then if I get a lead or if I have someone calling about insurance from my PNC referral or whatever, then I come up to my desk and get on my computer. But I'm kind of like always working, but it's not like an 8 to 5. I'm not just sitting here the whole time. It's like off and on. So, but are you being paid like when you're not working at all? So you want to get paid when you're not working. That's passive income. So how does it look? So you start as a broker, okay? You go through the basics, training, mentorship, running appointments, building credibility, helping families, however that looks. Some people just come in and they want to start building right away, which is kind of cool because then you have a running buddy to work with. Somebody who's at the same level as you. You come in, you do things together. We have a lot of people in our team that you can do that with too, even if you're not building. Like, we can partner each other up and stuff like that. Then you share the opportunity. Introduce the business to people that you know. Who do you know that doesn't want to leave their families to go to work anymore? Who's sick of driving in traffic? Who do you know that just, doesn't work? Maybe they're stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, but they want to bring in a little extra income. They can join and just to make an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month if they wanted to. That's only a couple policies a month that they would have to write to bring that extra income to their family. Who do you know that who needs that? Everyone. Have you been out in the world lately? Everyone is struggling. Everyone needs an opportunity, and it's up to us to offer it. And if they don't want to do it, oh well, okay, bye. Next, move on to the next person. But it's you want to show them because when like this is an example one of our friends did. They are at a place in their business. They've only been here for since March of 2020. So it'll be 6 years in March. But they are at a place right now where their agency is doing $1.3 million every single month right now. They just built a $2 million house. And she posted yesterday that was just like, why would, if one of my friends was living that life and building my brand new pool and doing all these things and I didn't share it with my friends, like I would feel guilty. And if I was the friend, I would also feel mad that you didn't share what you're doing because it's an opportunity anyone can do. You don't have to be in the insurance background. Most of the people that come here aren't in the insurance background. They're just looking for something different. So you want to share it with people. But basically, she just said, like, if I don't share what is helping us afford all this, and there's people out there who can't even struggle, like can't even eat because they don't have money to go buy groceries, it's my duty to share that. So you think of it differently. Don't think of it like you're a used car salesman trying to snatch up the next person. Like you want to work with people that you like. Like I don't want to just bring people into my business that I know that I don't want to hang out with. Like I want to be around people that I want to talk to. Like we go to conferences, we do like things like trips for our teams and stuff. Like I want to be able to bring people in that I get along with that fit with with our agency. So you want to share that with people you know. That's my take on it. Yes, you can recruit and do job ads and things like that, but I prefer to find them like through this or just like people referring like, hey, my sister doesn't want to go back to teaching next year. What can you do? And you share everything with them. So plug them into the system. New agents go through the same training you did. Mentor them on buying leads, dialing, setting and running appointments. You don't do the work, right? We don't do the work for them. We just help them. So in the beginning, I don't know everything about underwriting. I have no clue what policy to offer somebody. That's where the mentor comes in. You come in, you start helping, and you start to learn it as you go. And then you also earn overrides. So I'll show you what that looks like and what I meant by you don't make money until they sell a policy. I'll show you what that looks like. But your agents start at 80%. So you would earn the difference in whatever your contract rate was. So if you were at 95% contract and you bring in a friend that's at 80%, if they write a policy, Mutual of Omaha is going to send you a 15% cutback, kickback for just helping the person you brought in. So it's not something where your agent loses any money. They still make the same money they would even if you weren't around, but the carrier pays you just for helping, being the mentor, showing them what to do and how to write it. So that's how that works, and it's so, so cool. Now, then you scale your agency. Obviously, the more agents you have, the more residual money that you make. So how do they work? So I kind of just mentioned it, whatever contract you're at, it's the difference in what your agents are at. So if your agent was at 80% and you're at 105%, you would make a 25% commission from the carrier too. So like remember when for just the full-time just as a producer, she was at 202,000. If you add some agents in there and then your agency's at a $50,000 agency, the passive income part brings another 50,000. Another 50,000 just in passive income if you start building. So here's a single agent example. So new agent comes in, 80%, they write an annual premium policy of 1,000, they earn 800. If you're at 100% contract at that time, you keep the 20% spread, which is $200. You didn't write the policy, but you still got paid. So they're not losing anything. I think that's the biggest thing because I think a lot of times when you think of if I'm going to make some, then it would take away from your agent. It does not take away from your agent. So that is huge to know. And then if you have a small team, so say you have five people in your business, and each of them are writing 2,500 a week, which is 10,000 a month in premium. That's $50,000 in APV. That's 20% override. That gives you 10% or $10,000 in passive income that month. $10,000 in passive income. You didn't write any of those policies. You brought them in, you mentored them, you helped them get the policies written, you showed them how to do, how to go about it. The carriers are paying you over and over just for helping people. It is amazing. Now, if you have a bigger vision, okay, look at what it could look like with just 10 agents that are writing 10,000 in a month. Now, does everyone write 10,000? No. I have brought in probably 40, 50 agents in the last year. There are people that I'm telling you, they join, they go through all the licensing and the process, and then they join the witness protection program. I'm not kidding. There's so much potential, but people get so overwhelmed, and a lot of people are just not ready to do commission only. They see that it's taking a little more, it's a little harder to do. I didn't know I was going to have to invest in leads. I didn't know, there's just so many things when you tell them up front, like you need to invest in yourself. But if you found 10 people that were writing 10,000 a month, that's $20,000 on average if they're at a 20%. And that's just kind of average, like 20% override. If you're building a team, you're probably at least 100%, 105. So then your agents are coming in at 80, so it's like 20, 25%, but $20,000 in overrides on top of what you do. So if you're still writing 10, 15, $20,000 in business yourself, you have to remember on your own policies, you're making whatever your commission rate is. So if you're writing $20,000 in premium and you're at a 100% contract rate, you're making $20,000 on top of your passive. It can get big really quick. Now, these are just some of the agent perks. Now, this actually isn't the current year. I think this was for 2023 or 24. No, this was 2024. They just released the new one that shows like the 2026 trips, but I didn't even change it into the slide. But these are just some of the trips that the different carriers, so they're all sponsored by the different carriers. If you're writing a certain amount of premium with these carriers and you hit like the top 10 or the top 40 in the company or whatever, you earn these trips, and they're like fancy trips. Like they're not just, they're everything's included. The flights, the hotel, the all inclusive, all of that stuff is included. So amazing. I have not yet to go on one, but I will. I will get there one day. All right, so here's what it takes, guys. Licensing, if you're already licensed, you're already ahead. If you're still in the process of licensing or you're, looking to do that, if you need to take a course for like Excel, if your state requires that, I have a discount code that I can send you, and it saves like $150 or something. And then obviously if your state doesn't require Excel, I would say just go straight to Melissa and do the gold life and health bundle and do that, because it's so much easier the way she teaches. It makes it easier to understand. It makes it easier to know like what to know for the test, because let's just be real. Reading that material is so boring, and I have severe ADHD, so I'd be reading it and I'm like, have no idea. I'm thinking about dinner. Like I have no clue what I just read. So finding Melissa was an amazing thing. And I didn't even mention this earlier, but most of you found me through Melissa. Her and I worked at USA together 15 years ago. So that's how I know her. We've been friends forever. And when we were at USA, we did PNC. And so when we first started, we just did auto insurance. So only auto insurance, and then they kind of train you into other things. Well, they trained us for homeowners insurance. So me and Melissa were in the same class, and we go into our class, and the instructor is my current husband. So we weren't married at the time, but that's how I met him, was when he was teaching myself and Melissa, the insurance exam queen, how to do homeowners insurance. So it's a funny story, like the way, like to see where Melissa is now to where she was when I met her 15 years ago, because she was like 21 or 22 at the time. She was just so young, and she was like in her phases where she was having the time of her life. But to see her evolve from that to what like this multi-million dollar business that she has is so incredible, and I'm so super proud of her. So I, of course, will send everyone I know to her if they struggle reading the way that I do. I'm like, oh my God, you need Insurance Exam Queen, even if you have to do Excel because that's so hard to read. But yeah, so it's a crazy story, but and then also be coachable and be willing to learn if you're gonna do something like this. You plug into your training, mentorship, work ethic, part time or full time, whatever it is, whatever you can put to your business, just try to make it consistent. Even if it's only like an hour a day or 2 hours a day that you're able to focus on the business, just make it consistent to where you know that you're always doing it. And it becomes like where it's just part of your routine. The system's already in place. You don't have to reinvent it here. You don't have to create your CRMs. You don't have to build your own scripts. Like everything is already ready for you if you want to build a business or if you want to just be a broker and have all this, you still have the same tools. If you're just doing personal production and you never wanted to recruit, you could still get to 105% like I was telling you guys. So you don't have to like reinvent everything. You can come in, you can do it as you want, as you need. But you do need to be willing to invest in yourself and your business. So if you come in and you're like, I don't want to ever buy leads, you're probably not going to be very successful. I'm just going to be really honest, because when people come in and this, I'm going to even throw myself under the bus, but I came in a little bit differently and I did not start my business this way. I came in the business with the idea of I can do it all on my own and social media and I'm going to reinvent the wheel. I did all that in the beginning because I was very comfortable being on social media and sharing what I do and, asking for referrals and all those things. But it takes a lot longer for people that to be comfortable coming to you for different things. So when I am in business, like I've done businesses for 14, 15 years, and I kind of know what my people are going to do, and it usually takes a good year of me doing something before they start like, okay, she's sticking with this. So this is a business that she's going to do, because I've done so many different businesses. I've, you know, did like side businesses. I've photography. I've done like making things, bows and earrings and selling stuff like that. So I've been around like the sales world personally for a long time, but I thought I could do it all myself. I'm like, oh yeah, people are just going to come to me. I'm going to be writing policies by everybody. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You definitely still want to use it, even if you are going to be doing the system, but it's not like I always tell my agents, I'm like, post about life insurance all the time. Like tips, why you need it, why, what, just people need to be thinking about it all the time. Um, and so, but I make sure that they focus not on the likes or the comments, because people do not comment or like on business posts on social media. Very, very seldom that you'll get a like or a comment on business. So I would just tell people, just be comfortable with it and don't worry about that part. They're still seeing it and they're seeing the consistency. They want to see that you're going to keep showing up. They want to see that you know what you're talking about. They want to trust that you're going to put them in a policy that's going to be there for their family, and that just builds trust, and they want to see that consistency. So definitely do all that. But um, biggest tip I've found is like with this whole thing, the whole business is find something that fits your style. Find something or some like if you're looking at different places or what you're looking for, ask questions about your mentorship. Like, who am I working with? I want to be working with people that I like, and you should be working with people that you like, that you get along with. So like if you resonate with one person, and that's the way that I recommend going that route, is when you resonate with somebody that you're like, this is really, I can feel comfortable calling this person. I can feel comfortable asking questions. That's when you know that you want to partner with that person. Okay. So of course I would want everyone like to have a conversation, see if we would get along and all the things, but you want to do that. Make sure that you get along with the person that you're going to be partnering with, even if it isn't me. Okay. I want you to be successful. And that is, you do need to get along with your mentor. I'm just going to be really honest, because it's really a hard when you're working from home, like we do in our community, we do have a working system like where you log in and there's people that do live dialing you can listen to live appointments, you can listen to live interviews of people interviewing for like what this is. um, you can listen to all that and kind of hear how people word things and how they're asking the questions and things like that. Like that is available in our community. It's a workroom that's open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. There's somebody live dialing throughout the day. Mondays and Wednesdays, they are not set to live dial, but we still have the workroom open. Mondays, we have like our team meetings in the morning. And then Wednesdays are like the company wide meetings. So we just don't have, because you don't want to have like people live dialing when there's meetings all day too. It's just a lot to listen to. But it's open all the time for you. It's not just like an 8 to 3 or 8 to 4. It's all day long. It's open. So you can log in at any point and just work with people. So you're not alone, like on mute and everything. But at least if you have a question, there's a leader on there that you can say, hey, I just had this call. They said this. What carrier should I go with? And they'll help you like do those things like right there, answering your questions and all of that. So that is available for you. So even if I'm not consistent, like we're not talking every minute of the day, there's so many different things available for you to plug into in order to learn and like get more familiar with what's happening. So one sec, I need to take a drink. My mouth is getting dry. So if you are already licensed and like we end up talking and you're like, yeah, I think I want to do this. Basically what happens is I'll send you an email. You fill out this information, you put your license number in, and then you get a verification. Like they verify, like, yeah, this is good. You get a welcome email. That's where you learn the system, submit carrier contract requests, and start the training. You automatically, as soon as you're in the system, you can write with two carriers, Mutual of Omaha and American Amicable. And we always, recommend it's perfect opportunity to go in and practice writing your first policy on somebody in your family. Like, do your kids need coverage? Do you need coverage? Does your spouse need coverage? Practice writing those applications on yourself. That way, when you get to those, you already know what that application looks like. So it just kind of helps, but it's also you writing a policy and understanding what it is and having it. So it's hard to sell something if you don't have it. So if you don't have life insurance, how are you going to, share the importance of it, right? So getting that done. And then once you go through that first phase of training, though, what we do is we just kind of get on the phone and say, hey, like what is your goals? How much, like, what are you looking to make? How much time are you, planning on putting into this? Like, kind of get an idea of what your expectations are. Obviously, I am not going to sit and be like, oh, you said you were working on Monday. I will never do that. You work when you want. You work around your family. You work around whatever. I help when you need help. You ask for help. I come and I help you. Okay. There's no set things of when you have to be there, who needs, how many times you need to dial. There are goals that you'll have based on how much money that you want to make. And we'll go through that and kind of map it out for you, but it's not going to be like you're being held accountable to it. Like I'm not going to say you can't do this anymore because you're not doing 40 hours this week. That is not going to happen. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you know that. But really it's just coming in, we get you through that first phase of training, discuss your goals, and then buy leads and start calling them. Buying those cheap, cheap, cheap leads. Like I said, they're old, they're 40 cents, they're practice. They did request information at one point, probably been a while. They probably aren't going to remember that they filled anything out. They probably are going to say that they took care of it already. They might tell you to F off. That's happened a lot of times. Actually, yesterday I did. The lady was really grouchy. I called for her husband, and she's like, "I'm his wife," but she told me to take her off our effing list, is what she told me. So, anyways, she was not friendly, and you're gonna get those, but that's why they're only 40 cents. You call them, they did request it at some point, and there are still people in those that you're gonna find to write policies for. It's just gonna take a lot of weeding through them, but they're practice. You go for 10 no's, you go for 10 people actually saying, nope, take me off your list. That's your first goal because you just want to get comfortable. Like you don't want it to hurt your feelings when they tell you no. Okay? That's the whole goal. You don't want to get hurt when they tell you no, because I believe me, I've been there too. I got to that point where I'm like, I don't know why they didn't like me. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Like, why didn't they like me? But I'm over it now. You'll get over it. All right. So if you are, like I said, fill this out. I'll send you a text that way you have my phone number. And then we can get on another call where you can ask more questions. I'm gonna read your thing here. Hold on. Do you have to be licensed in every state to operate? No. So you get licensed in the state that you're living in, like your resident state, and then you can get, non-residents wherever you want. Working remote, what I usually recommend is getting your, obviously your resident state, but then trying to get a couple different time zones. So you can say maybe like a Pacific time, a Central time, an East Coast, just so you have several that you can do. So say if you wanted to wake up really early, if you lived in like the West Coast, if you want to get up early, you can still call East Coast numbers by, like, say if you wanted to dial at 5, you can call after 8 if it's 3 hour difference. You can buy those kind of leads where you can call those states in the morning, or if you're in the East Coast and you want to work at night, you can buy Pacific time zone licenses and then buy those leads to work in those states. So you can really do it however, um, however fits your schedule. Like if you're working full time and you need to work at night, then you definitely want to get some more states. You don't, we kind of just did it the way like we got where our family and friends are from. Like if we're in Arizona, but we have people in Texas and New Mexico, so we got those. That's like how we started it because it was like, well, if working with people on social media, that's a lot of people from where I'm from, right? So that's the way that we did it. And then we just decided after that, we went through and bought like the inexpensive licenses, like Virginia, Michigan, they're like less than $50 is what I'm saying. So if they're under $50, we're like, okay, we can get one there, we can get one there, because some of them are like $300. Like it's crazy. Let's see here. Maggie said you can get individual license for individual. Yep. Yeah, very true. Yep, Maggie, you're correct. Yeah. So yeah, but what other questions? If you we have a couple minutes if you want to ask some questions. So right at 1 hour. I've been going over to like by 10 minutes, the last couple of ones that I did. So I'm like, I want it to be an hour. That way I don't keep you guys too long. But feel free, you guys, if you have any questions about anything, or maybe you just want to run something by, because I've done PNC also, like I said. So some people are like, I don't know if I should do PNC or if I should do life or health, or like there's a lot of different things to think about. So just if you have questions about that, let me know. Like I'm an open book. Some I talked to a girl the other day and we were just like going over some things, and she wasn't comfortable with leads, and she also didn't want to recruit, and I'm like, maybe like we just came to a consensus, like maybe like working for an agent for a little bit, like getting your feet wet just in insurance first, because she wasn't comfortable with insurance either yet. Like it was like a whole bunch of things, but she just wasn't ready yet, and it's totally fine. Not everyone is ready. So, and I did service too. Yes, Maggie, I can send you the replay. I'll send you the replay when we're done. I'll just have to upload it to YouTube and then I'll send it to you. You're on the service side. See, and that's what I did too. So at USA, it was all service. Like there was no commission or anything. So it's all service, but they still wanted you to make referrals. So like they wanted us to, refer them to do a bank product, whether it's like checking or savings or credit cards, or like they wanted us to refer to life insurance. Never once in 15 years did I refer to life insurance because I was not comfortable talking about it back then. And now, like that I'm doing life insurance, I'm like, oh my God, I could have so easily like brought it up in PNC, like now thinking back, like how I would have brought it up back then, but I just didn't know and it wasn't comfortable back then. It just didn't feel right. So it takes time. And here's the thing too. Most people start in this business part-time. Most people. Most people keep their day job for a while until they're comfortable and they're making enough money to be able to say, okay, I can either go part-time or quit or whatever you wanted to do. But most people start part-time because you do still want to have income coming in. Like if you want to make an extra $1,000 a week, you're probably going to at least want to buy $100 in leads. Like that's just going to be normal if you're not like building and doing other things outside of, the system. Like you probably will be spending at least that much. So having a job that you have, so you have money coming in still, and then you can use that towards putting towards resources for your business to grow your business, and then it starts building your, what you're making. But even if you do like two policies a week, like think of it like that. Two average policies is 2,400 in a week. That's pretty good. Like not all of them are going to be that, but an average, like the apps to average, they end up averaging out. Like if you have some that are $300 and some that are $600, they do end up averaging out. Are the leads bundled, or can you buy? No, you buy as many as you want. They're totally set. Like you can buy the cheap 40-cent leads, and if you wanted like a brand new one, it's like $30. So you buy whatever mix, whatever, as many, as little as you want. There is no rules. There is no like, especially in my agency, like I've heard of other agents out there that won't bring people in if they're not spending a certain amount because they're like their business isn't going to grow. But I'm like, I don't, it's your business. You do what you want. You know what I mean? So you bundle, you buy, you do as many or as little as you want and whatever level you want to. Because there's even some that are out there that are like, I think like $60 a lead. Like there's some like really, 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 really hot brand new. They just literally hung up the phone 5 seconds ago and you get that lead. Those are the ones that are really, because they're high intent. They just did it. But I haven't even bought any of those really expensive ones. Not yet. My husband's bought some digital ones, like social media ones. He used to do that a lot, like people that clicked on something online. And those were $30 a piece, and he did that for a long time, but he wasn't ready for it yet. He should have stuck to the older ones for a while because he wasn't quite there yet. But we live and learn. So right now I'm only doing leads that are they're the second level. So I haven't bought the brand new ones like yet. My goal is to start doing it like within the next month or two. But I buy the second level, so they are like 3 weeks old. So whoever the first person that bought them, they never closed or did anything. Maybe they never got a hold of them or they never closed them, maybe for whatever reason, and they forgot to close it out and take it out of the system. Then it moves down to the next person. So then I could buy it, and that's the ones that I buy, and they're about $11 each for me. But I think they're cheaper. I think they're like $9 for newer people for that level, and those are like 3 weeks old. But then they keep going down, and I think they get to where that'd be called an A or a B lead, and they go all the way to H. So it just keeps aging as it goes up to all the way to H. The 1 to 2 weeks they're about $11, 10 or 11 each. So if you're like for those, you would be buying. I would say even on those, I would still say that I would recommend buying about 20 at least, 20 or 30 of those. So I would not do that until you feel confident, like with objections and just what you're saying and like how you're going to say it, making sure like it's not just like stuttering off out of your mouth. Like, I'm calling about, like, you don't want to like stutter. So when I would say you wouldn't want to move to even that level until you are comfortable. And so that's why I always just say like how I don't know how long it's going to take for you to get comfortable, but I would not want somebody spending more on leads until they've at least sold a policy. Like stick to the old ones at least so you've at least made a little bit of money, then you can reinvest. Because I mean, you're coming here to make money. So until you have that return of investment of what you've already put into it, I wouldn't say go up. Maybe like after a month or two, then maybe if you felt comfortable by then and if you were consistently dialing those older leads, then I would say, but I mean, you can do what you want. If you wanted to buy those right off the bat, then you could, but for cost purposes, I would say give it a little bit, at least a month of dialing the older ones. You are very welcome, but anything you guys have questions about, you guys, like I said, I'm gonna put my phone number in the chat in case you did not do the QR code. And feel free to send me a text and just tell me your name and that you were here tonight. And I will save your number. And then if you want to hop on a call or something tomorrow or anytime this week, we can do that too. Just ask questions. And if you need a discount code for Excel, I have that. So send me the text and I'll get you that code. If you know anybody that needs the code, I can send that to them too. Whatever it is. But if you don't have any more questions, then let's end this and let's go get ready for bedtime. What time is it? It's only 7 here. It's so dark, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's time for bed. But let me know if you need anything. If you have not taken your test yet, I wish you all luck. Go out and get it. If you just want to chat, send me a message. It's so good to see you guys, and thank you guys for hopping on. Have a good night.